I am back today with one of the most interesting shotguns I've ever fired and have ever had out to the channel. This is the Benelli M3, and it's a convertible shotgun between semi-automatic and pump action. Other shotguns have tried to do this and failed, but the Benelli M3 actually works and functions as it should. Now, this does not come at a cheap price, and if you know the name Benelli, they are not known for budget pricing. But what you do get is a shotgun that works every single time you pull the trigger, whether it be in pump action mode or semi-auto mode, and that's not to be said lightly because it's a very interesting concept. We're going to talk about all the specs and features and work our way from the front to the back, but this one is the tactical model with the adjustable stock, tube extension, and pick rail and ghost ring sights. It's one of my favorite options available in the M3 lineup, and it's a very unique design. But is it practical in the real world? I think there's a few different practical applications, and I feel like some of this, though, is just a cool design that's nice to add to the collection. I actually picked this one up from American Pawn and Gun, located in Monroe, North Carolina. We were doing a pawn shop find video. I saw it there, so I had to grab it. It was a pretty awesome option. I'm always in American Pawn and Gun in Monroe. You might see me there at lunchtime on the weekdays. But let's start off by talking about all those specs and features and work our way from the front to the back. This has a very interesting sight setup and a good, solid barrel. Benelli is known for making quality components that last, and it's no different with the M3. This particular one has the tube extension to allow it to hold more rounds than the standard 5. It also has the tube clamp and the locking mechanism for the pump action. This is where it gets very interesting. On the pump action, it utilizes a locking system that hooks to the pump that locks it into place for semi-automatic mode. So when you're firing this gun with semi-auto or in semi-auto mode, the pump is locked in and it will not move. To unlock the pump, you actually rotate this, and it's very simple. It unlocks the pump, and now you can use this in pump action mode. Now, when you pump it, you can't actually slide the pump forward unless there is a round in the chamber releasing the action, so you can't really pump it through like a traditional pump action. To get that forward without a round in the chamber, you hit the bolt release, it throws it home, and you can pump it again in pump action mode. One thing to note is that it will not lock back into place until you rotate this again, slide this up, and now it is latched permanently in semi-auto mode until you want to release it again. This pump also has a pick rail at the top to add lights, lasers, foregrips, whatever you want. And the pump action is actually surprisingly smooth and easy to transition. Probably a very awesome point of the design is the fact that it actually transitions easily from pump to semi-auto mode without a ton of fuss. It takes a few tries getting used to, but once you get it squared away, it's actually really easy to transition. Moving to the receiver itself, they actually have some very nice enhanced features on the M3 that I would actually like to see be carried over to the M2 and M4 lineup, like the extended bolt handle. That is very nice to have, as well as the extended bolt release. This starts competing with the Beretta 1301 and its usability at the receiver end of the shotgun, rather than some of the smaller components of the M2 and M4. Now, they're all swappable, but having it from the factory in this configuration is definitely nice. The action itself is very reliable, which again is a feat considering it's one of the most unique actions out there when it comes to a shotgun. The cool thing about this is if you grab something like a less lethal option, a beanbag, rubber buckshot, well, that's not going to cycle any semi-auto shotgun. So you can load those into the chamber, fire, pump them out, have the tube remaining with buckshot, switch it back to semi-auto mode, and dump them as fast as you can pull the trigger. That's the other option you can do with breaching rounds. You can load a couple of breaching rounds in a predetermined set, maybe 2 or 3, and after you breach a door, you can transition this into semi-auto mode to follow up for law enforcement applications. Now, that's not something that I'm ever going to use, but it is an interesting concept that you can load low power rounds, less lethal options, run it in pump, then switch it to semi-auto mode. So that is pretty slick. The other cool thing about this is it runs low brass just fine in semi-auto mode. So I took some of the cheapest ammo I got at Walmart, 3 different box types, and it ran it just fine. The other cool thing about the M3 is you can't outrun the action as you can the M2. Unfortunately, I grabbed an M2 out to the channel and then I end up getting rid of it because I could outrun the action. It was very frustrating, meaning I could pull the trigger before the bolt was completely home, or the bolt would hit, do a slight bounce, and you would outrun the gun. The M4, you cannot do it because of its inertia. The M2 has the inertia system. The M4 has its completely own system that you can't outrun, and the M3 you can't outrun either, so something to consider when you're picking up one of these shotguns. The pick rail at the top is a nice touch. The ghost ring sights are very nice, and the receiver is built solid. The loading gate on the M3, though, is a little bit frustrating. I've noticed the M2 and the M4 are a little bit easier to load, and my thumb gets caught a little bit on the M3. Now, I don't know if that's my particular gun or the way it's designed to interface between pump action and semi-auto mode, but I found my thumb getting stuck in here. If this could be swapped out or smoothed out, it might be nicer, but I really feel like it's this large gap right here that a lot of other shotguns don't have that allows your finger to get pinched in there or your thumb to get pinched in there when you're loading. I think I was spoiled with the 1301 and M4, and it started getting caught in this one, so definitely a frustrating feature. The cross trigger safety is really nice. It works out well. It's oversized, and the pistol grip adjustable stock option is very comfortable with a push button design. You can bring that all the way in. It's a little bit stiff, but you can bring that all the way in for storage and compact shooting, although you can't really get down in your sights as easy when it's all the way in. As you extend it, it drops down a little bit further to get the proper cheek placement and eye relief on different optics. In summary, if you were looking at an interesting shotgun and you had a little extra money to spend, the Benelli M3 is definitely one to add to your collection. I feel like it has a lot of practical applications, maybe just not for my particular arsenal. Maybe it'll be right for you, but for me, this one is going to stay with the channel because it's an awesome piece of shotgun history that's still being produced today. That's one of the only convertible shotguns that you can actually trust your life with, that has a really cool design set, works well down at the range, and works well with a wide variety of ammunition. Again, a huge shout out to American Pawn and Gun for letting me head over there and film. Always check those guys out. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.